and welcome into Cullman in the Morning. I'm Debbie Wood, along with Mayor Woody Jacobs is with us today to talk about everything that's happened and what has been taking place with the City of Cullman over the last 12 months, actually, for the year of 2018. And glad to see him today, and we've got a lot of interesting things I think that you're going to enjoy seeing. And always welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Hard to believe that back in October, end of October, maybe 1st of November, 2 years for you in office.
That's correct.
Does it feel like you've been there like longer, or I know you've got a lot accomplished?
It's kind of like a good marriage.
Yes.
You know? It seems like forever, but it's
short time.
But it's all very short. So it's when things are good, that's the way it feels.
Absolutely. So many things happen that benefited the city and our community and our folks, our residents throughout the year. Let's start out with back in the winter. January and February. What were you sort of working on and focusing on?
A year ago?
Yes, almost a year ago.
All right. Number one thing that we've really been working on, and that's really not known yet,
right,
is West Main has some areas that are failing,
right,
down on the south end. So we were doing engineering and core samples and all that.
Okay.
And we've got all that analyzed, and now we have it to the engineers that are designing how to fix it.
Okay.
So that's going to be bid out in the spring. When weather gets warm, then we're going to fix from Lessman, which is the red light, down around the city cemetery,
right,
all the way south from there. And they're estimating that to be about $825,000 project.
Just to correct and
Yeah.
repair. So no
That's unbelievable,
widening.
isn't
It is unbelievable
Yeah.
what that costs. So no widening, no additions or lanes or anything.
The project was did about 12 years ago.
Oh, was it? Okay.
And it went from the entire stretch and widened some for a little over $1 million. So you can see how paving cost is.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
So, and that road runs all the way into the Y, down in front of Rahal, not Rahal, but Walmart distribution.
Yes.
And so looking forward to that. Or you've already done that part.
It's in the budget.
It's in the budget.
So
gotcha.
once you get the money in the budget, it's not like it's like it's going to happen.
And then what after that? I know y'all continually work on stuff. Everything, there's always stuff in the pipes to come down.
One of the things we were working on then, on days that were warm enough, was the new park down at Engle Park.
Right.
On the corner there, that's been very well received by the public. It's a combination of handicap accessible, but also it's just a regular park where all kids of all abilities are able to intermingle and play together. And we put pickleball courts in. Most people didn't know what pickleball was.
Right.
Now we got people playing pickleball. We got basketball courts, and we put in 2 4-square.
Okay.
We had a little extra space, and so it's. And then the walking trails that are lit at night, and the people have just loved that park since we've completed it.
Love that park. If you haven't been, Engle Park Connectivity Park, and we love it. We went numerous times this summer, and I think one thing that the parents and the grandparents love is you've got the, not awnings, but you've got the picnic pavilions with the roofs on there. So if it's too hot and the kids are right there, and they're safe, you could sit up under there and watch them. One thing about that park too, Woody, the turf. You got to tell the folks about the turf.
Yeah, well, where the playground equipment is, it's, I don't know, maybe 8 inches thick. You don't see it because on top is, like a AstroTurf, which is an old-timey term, I guess. Synthetic turf on top. Then it's got double layers of this foam, so it makes it fall protected to a certain degree. My daughter proved that incorrect.
Recently.
Yeah. But, so if somebody falls off, then they don't get a, concussion.
That's true.
Might still hurt them a little bit.
That's right. Now, Hannah, I believe, did she break her arm or?
She broke her ankle.
Ankle, okay.
When we were shooting the promo video for the ribbon cutting.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Now, folks, that when you step on it, you're like, wow, you sink in. It's very, very deep. So go by there and check it out. It's right there on the corner of
very nice park.
and Engle.
Yeah, very much so.
You'll enjoy it.
We did 2 other neighborhood parks last year. Culpeper Park and Carroll Acres, and refreshed those, and those communities love those parks now. We got a lot of play and traction in those.
Right. We went there also. Those are wonderful parks. So check it out, Culpeper, and also down at Carroll Acres, and wonderful parks. And what happened after that?
Well, one of the things that we're doing currently, or two things really, if you travel up and down Bruner Street, it's a mess, but I guess maybe 2 or 3 years, about 3 years ago, we did half of Bruner Street where we redid the sewer, the storm drain, the sidewalks, water, and all of that.
Right.
And it was a grant through the federal government. It's called a CDBG grant.
Okay.
And last year, the previous year, we didn't get awarded that grant. This year we were awarded the grant, and we're doing the other half of Bruner Street.
Oh, okay.
And at the same time, because we have a lot of old sewer lines in town that are letting water get into them, which is a bad thing for the sewer plant when it rains a lot.
Right.
So we bought a piece of equipment where it's called pipe bursting, where you don't dig it up.
Okay.
You basically pull a new pipe through it.
Neat.
And
so that should save time, money,
and money.
That's
and,
awesome.
and we control it because we've got guys that are trained to do that now.
To do it.
So we're doing Marie Street ourselves.
Wonderful.
And kind of comparing, one project to the other.
Sure. Well, wonderful. We'll love to hear how that turns out, because I would think that would definitely save time and save a lot of money. So that's good that you were able to do that. So stay with us. We'll be back with more of Cullman in the Morning right after this. And we just see, as we're driving around town, we just see so many things happening. What happened after that?
Well, one of the things, I guess it was about this time a year ago, I was doing some traveling, and I was in 2 different towns. One was in Rock Hill, South Carolina. We were looking at some park and rec stuff.
Right.
And then I had a meeting out in San Francisco, and I decided to drive north to look at a few things.
Right.
And the town that I spent the night in was called Asheville, Oregon. It's right along the Interstate 5 there. So that's where I got the idea to do the way we did the Christmas lights downtown this year.
Love it.
And where you outline the buildings. And then that sounds simple until you start dealing with each individual owner and getting permission and getting all that stuff worked out. But Park and Rec, the streetlight guys, all those all participated and made it happen, and it really, really looks nice.
It does look nice, and I'm so glad that you brought that up. I've been noticing that. In fact, I've been going by and showing the kids everything by Depot, and I'm like, I love the way that you've outlined the lights. So you saw that on a trip and brought it back and implemented it. Well, I think it's wonderful. And I have to say, too, those folks that do that, do all those lights down our streets, it seems like you've added more lights, too.
We did.
For Christmas. And down but Third Avenue is lit up almost all the way down to Carroll Acres. It looks beautiful.
Along those same lines, which is new projects, we have one project that's fixing to start pretty quick. We call them TAP grants, but that's where the lamp post and the lighting and stuff, that's the program that we were able to do those through.
Right.
And on 278, starting at the Railroad Bridge, going 2 blocks to the east, which I call it the Perry Warren's Furniture Store.
Right.
That's what, just past office equipment.
Sure.
We're fixing to do those 2 blocks.
Good.
And then we're in the engineering phase, so hopefully we'll bid it out this summer.
Right.
Starting by Festall.
Okay.
On First, which I call that the Warehouse Street.
Sure.
All the way up to the Stiefmeyer building.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So
those are not done at this time.
Right.
But they do
so
plan.
next year, in the Warehouse District, there's really, it's kind of tight. So there's not going to be room for the lamppost, traditional lamppost. So we're talking about doing the string lights above.
Oh, I love it.
Like, you see in Europe.
Sure. Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah.
Our downtown is just beautiful anyway, but at this time of the year, it's certainly just, so we want to thank all those hard workers for doing that.
Absolutely. Yep.
So anything else that we're going to, one thing that we have started, and we may be jumping out of the line, is the Eva Road project. I've been so thrilled about that. Are most people thrilled like me, or are they upset?
Most people are thrilled, and most people are like me also. I use it to cut through,
Sure.
so I still forget every now and then.
Too.
And So they started preliminary engineering work, field engineering on that. So we had to close the road.
Right.
And the construction company's fixed to, actually start doing that. And hopefully, they say it's a year-long project.
Right.
And we're hoping that it gets done just before school next year.
Oh, wouldn't that be great? So maybe 9 or 10 months.
We'll say a little prayer for that.
Absolutely. Now, what can we expect? If you've ever driven across the Eva Road Bridge just below the high school on the way out to 157, oh my goodness, I would always sort of just like this when I'm going across it, because it seems like the people that were coming south were sort of thrown over on you. And so can we expect it to be a lot wider?
It's going to be wider, and the elevation's coming up. It's going to be higher.
Good. Okay.
And it's not technically a bridge. It's more of a culvert.
Okay.
But the spillway and the dam and the lake's all going to still be there.
It will still be there. Okay.
Yep. And there'll be 2 retaining walls that'll go out into the lake, on the water side, that'll help, hold all this up.
Okay.
And so it'll be safer just based on those aspects alone.
Wonderful. So we're so glad to hear that. Anything else to finish up this year that we can expect for this year? Because we've got great things for 2019 also.
Internally, one thing that we're finalizing is where all the city stuff used to be up on the north end of town. I still call it I don't know, it's behind the old mug and cone.
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So we're vacating that property and selling that to the adjoining industry there.
Okay, awesome.
And so, because they need the property.
Sure.
And so we have one department that's still in there. Water's moved out, streets moved out.
Right.
Sanitation's still there.
Okay.
So we're building them an office, kind of like a house, but it's an office.
Sure.
Out at the old landfill where the dog pound is.
Convent Road.
Yep.
I wonder what was going on
They
out
call
there.
it 48. Mm-hmm. So once I got to be mayor, I said, why do y'all call it 48?
Right.
Because 48 used to be the phone number.
Okay.
So they call it 48.
Pretty neat.
There
Pretty
you
neat.
go.
A lot of construction going on out there.
Yep.
So that's awesome. Anything else to end this year before we start talking about next year?
City engineer.
Okay.
City of Cullman has
Yes, we're so
never
excited.
had a city engineer, and we've grown to the point that we probably should have already had one.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got bridge projects and this project and grant projects and all that.
Right.
And it's just gotten to the point that it's very hard to manage them.
Sure.
And so we were very blessed, and we got I call her a local girl because
Yes.
she's married. She's married one of the Yorks.
Sure.
And she's not originally from here, but they've been living here.
Right. They farm.
Yeah, she
Big
works for
farm.
Alabama Power, or did, and then her husband works for the Department of Defense.
Right.
On the Arsenal, so she gets to not have to drive anymore.
Isn't that wonderful? So we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about that project and how, not that project, but actually how she's going to help with all the different projects that will be coming up, and it is going to benefit our community by having her a city engineer on staff. So we're so glad to have her, and of course we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about 2019, a big grant that was awarded to the city. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's excited. Something that's been needed for our community for many years. And we'll probably talk about a few other things. So stay with us. We'll be back with more of Cullman in the Morning right after this.